Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at r/am I overreacting? Let's find out if these people are hella dramatic or if actually they need to start laying down some laws. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. So, first post, am I overreacting for correcting my mother-in-law when she introduced my baby as our daughter at a family barbecue? My daughter is 6 months old. My mother-in-law is very hands-on grandma. She watches my baby once a week and loves to buy her clothes and post pictures. That's fine. But at a family barbecue last weekend, she introduced my baby to one of her cousins as our daughter, meaning hers and my husband's. She said it twice, even after I corrected her the first time, like, oh, yes, she's our little girl. She's a spitting image of her daddy. I interrupted and said, you mean your granddaughter? I tried to keep it light, but she got visibly annoyed and didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. Later, my husband said I was nitpicking and making her feel unwanted. Your husband needs to grow a spine, a nice shiny one. But I feel like there's a weird possessiveness going on and I needed to draw a line. Am I overreacting? Okay, so first time it happens, I would be like, oh, slip of the tongue, easily done. Once you've said something and actually corrected them and then they continue to do it and get in a huff with you because you've corrected them, no, you're not overreacting. You've set a boundary and they've shat all over it. That's not okay. So down in the comments, just another user, 8432 says, saying our little girl is vastly different than saying our daughter. So which is it? If mother-in-law referred to her as our daughter, yes, that is over the line. That is weird. If she referred to her as our little girl, that is an extremely common way to refer to a child in the family, as in, this little girl is precious to everyone in our family. People refer to their kids, their grandkids, nieces, nephews, neighbours' kids, their dog, as in, this is the girl I was telling you about that you haven't met and that I love and appreciate so much and think is so awesome. It is not a claim of ownership, and both mother-in-law and the cousin thinking you are being rude for the correction, and you overreacted by butting into the conversation and correcting her language. The other person already knew that was the granddaughter, and that our little girl referred to the beloved new addition to her branch of the family. Oh, see, I thought what the OP meant was she'd said our daughter a couple times, the OP had corrected her, and then she said our little girl, and then that just got OP's back up. Which I would have been like, yeah, okay, that's fair enough, because if you've said, pack it in, then I understand. But yeah, no, if actually she's not saying our daughter and she's just saying our little girl, I understand why it rubs some people the wrong way, but also I think it's just like a phrase of endearment, because my stepmom does the same with my kids. Says our little lad, little girl, whatever. Says it about my cats. And I don't get annoyed because I know it's just the way they speak, It sounds like you may be having some feelings about your daughter loving her grandmother or feeling displaced because someone else is watching your child instead of you. Baby will not love mother-in-law more than you, and having baby have multiple adults she is safe and attached to will be a wonderful throughout her life, but you will always be the most important person as her mum. But you did vastly overreact. If you were feeling vulnerable, then you decide to pull mother-in-law aside or have husband do so and gently ask her not to say it like that because you love her taking care of your baby so much and that she does a great job, but you also feel guilty at leaving baby even with a safe person. Or you acknowledge that your feelings are valid, but your reactions need some work and discuss it in therapy. Publicly embarrassing mother-in-law in front of extended family by correcting her choice of words and implying the extended family that she was over-exaggerating her connection to baby and wasn't really that important because you felt insecure was cruel, and likely changed both mother-in-law and extended family's view of you. You should apologise. See, I've just read back through the OP's post and she says, but at the family barbecue last week, she introduced my baby to one of her cousins as our daughter, saying that the mother-in-law actually said that. And then she goes on to say she said it twice, even after I corrected her the first time, like, oh yes, she's our little girl. She's a spitting image of her daddy. I interrupted and said, you mean your granddaughter. So the OP did say that she actually worded it as our daughter and then once corrected our little girl. Almost like, I suppose, she felt like the mother-in-law was trying to find a different way to say our daughter. So actually, I think maybe both of them are buttholes. The OP's overreacted a bit. The husband, maybe he doesn't need to grow a shiny spine. Maybe he's just like fed up of it all. And the mother-in-law needs to not overstep boundaries. I think maybe they're all just kind of being arses about it, to be honest. Next post, am I overreacting? I left my boyfriend of 4 years because he met up with my ex. Wait, he met up with your ex? Well, that's something new, isn't it? That's not normally the way that goes. I feel silly and quite desperate posting this. It's my first time reaching out on a forum, but I'm heartbroken and feel lost enough to seek guidance here. I've been with my boyfriend for 4 years. I love him deeply. Before that, I spent 10 years single after leaving an extremely abusive marriage. I chose to remain single to heal and focus solely on my children. My ex-husband didn't just hurt me, he destroyed my life emotionally, mentally, and financially. It took me years to recover and rebuild. Today, we maintain a somewhat amicable relationship, only because we co-parent. Recently, my boyfriend met my ex. He knows everything about my past and how much pain that man caused me. But because my ex is charming, intelligent, and business-oriented, my boyfriend was very impressed by him. He's looking to start a new business and thought of him as a potential partner. Oh yeah, sling him in the bin. Ew, what the hell? I told him very clearly that I didn't want him to associate with my ex in any way. I set that boundary for my safety and peace of mind, but he went behind my back, met with him secretly, and lied to me about who he was meeting. When I confronted him, he admitted it, but instead of being truly sorry, he said he was relieved I found out, because he wanted to tell me, but only lied because I would have been upset. That felt like pure gaslighting and deflection. My goodness, what a piece of shit they both are, these blokes. A few days later, I was scheduled to meet my ex-husband. We meet occasionally in public places for co-parenting matters. My boyfriend insisted on tagging along. At the restaurant, I found out, in real time, how deep their business relationship had become. They had already met with people, made plans, brainstormed ideas, and were full steam ahead with their project, without ever telling me. I hate that this boyfriend has allowed this ex-husband to find another way to emotionally and mentally abuse this poor woman. What the hell? What made it worse was seeing my boyfriend act like they were lifelong best friends. It was painful and honestly disturbing. During that lunch, my boyfriend even demanded that I help my ex-husband with paperwork for their business. I was furious. When we got home, everything unravelled. He couldn't understand why I was upset. He didn't see what was wrong with befriending the man who once abused and broke me and my children. So I broke up with him. Good riddance. And now I'm heartbroken, confused, and angry. I don't even know how to process this. Am I overreacting? Would you consider this betrayal? Absolutely. I just can't believe that the boyfriend is this stupid. Like, he's got no brain cells, has he? He can't, because otherwise, how does he hear about all the ways this person abused you and mentally and manipulated you and all this lot and go, oh yeah, sounds a fantastic business partner, that. Like, my guy, he's manipulating you too, and you are willingly just skipping on into it with little rose-tinted glasses on. What is wrong with you? Like, oh no, I don't blame the OP for leaving this dude at all. And honestly, I feel so sorry for him, because when they finally decided to trust again, got with someone, this is what happened. Like, come on now. I feel so bad for them. They're never going to trust a single person again. And you watch now, that ex-husband drop that boyfriend like a smelly bag of shite. Now that he can't use the boyfriend to abuse his ex-missus with. Now that the ex-wife has got rid of this new boyfriend, and he can't get into her life using that boyfriend, he's going to discard him so quickly. It's unreal. So, down in the comments, Galaxy Girl et al. Says, I am so sorry, not overreacting. Your ex-husband is diabolical. Since he couldn't abuse you directly anymore, he decided to abuse you again through your now ex-partner. Exactly. Your now ex-partner is too stupid to see he is being used, and too self-focused and selfish to see how he betrayed you in one of the worst possible ways. This is very devastating, and the relationship is irrecoverable. You did the right thing by ending this relationship immediately. Staying with your now ex-partner would have been experiencing the abuse twice, restarting the abuse. Your now ex has no excuse. You, however, recognised the restart of emotional abuse and acted fast. You are not the same person you were when you left your abusive husband. It shows that you learnt and grew a lot in those 10 years you were single. And also, those 10 years single prove that you can thrive on your own. So, be heartbroken for a while. Wonder at the stupidity of your now ex. Know your abusive ex-husband will never change and aim to have no contact once your kids turn 18. Consider for now a court-appointed, approved co-parenting communication app that is the only way you communicate now. And be totally amazed at how fast you shut that shit down when you discovered it was happening again. You said no to being a victim again at lightning speed. You're amazing and a role model to your kids and other abuse victims. You hurt right now, which sucks, but you prevented much more significant trauma by ending your relationship. You are the kind of client every therapist, psychologist, social worker, psychiatrist, counsellor, victim advocate, police officer, judge dreams of. You survived, rebuilt, and learnt how to be free from abuse. Precisely. That boyfriend is so dense. He even knew all of the info and passed, and he still fell for it. What a fucking idiot. Am I overreacting for leaving my cousin's wedding early after she seated me at the singles kids table? I, 29F, was invited to my cousin's wedding this weekend. I RSVP'd months ago and made it clear I'd be coming solo since I just got out of a long-term relationship. When I got there, I was shocked to see that I had been seated at a table with literal teenagers, her younger cousins, and some 13 to 16-year-olds. I double-checked the seating chart and yep, Table 11, singles and teens. Why would you have a table for singles in the first place? That seems like really odd to me. I'd just be like, yeah, I'll just mix all the adults together. Like, why would I make someone feel so, like, pointed out? Everyone else my age was seated together, mostly couples or friends. I felt so out of place and embarrassed. I tried to tough it out for the dinner, but when the speeches started, a few teens at the table were goofing off and talking over everything. I got up, politely said goodbye to my aunt, and left quietly. The next day, my cousin texted me saying she'd noticed I'd left rudely and that I could have handled it with grace instead of storming off. I said I didn't storm off. I just didn't feel like being treated like a child for being single. Now the family group chat is buzzing and I'm being called dramatic. Am I overreacting? No. I think if you'd have been seated, like, with anybody else, it would have been fine. It feels like the cousin made a point putting you with the teens, which is really odd. I don't know why you would do that. I just can't fathom it. I feel like there was a point being tried to be made here. I can't imagine what it was, but I feel like there was something. And also, the fact the cousin said that the OP could have handled it with grace instead of storming off proves they knew they'd done something wrong. Why would you need to handle it with grace if there was nothing wrong with the seating arrangements? So, down in the comments, Organic Willow 2835 says, for the family group chat, you know, there are deal breakers in life, and when you're invited as a guest to an event, you bring a nice gift and then the bride shows you how little respect and regard she has for you as a person. That is when you have self-respect to leave. It was an absolute show of disrespect for name to place a 29-year-old at a table with teenagers. Not a single one of you would have felt differently. So we are going to call this what it is. Absolute abject rudeness on the part of the bride for which there was no excuse. The appropriate place for me would have been seated with other family members because, you know, I'm family, not as the token babysitter. That was absolutely beyond rude and incredibly disrespectful. Call it out. Yeah, exactly. And then tech support victim says, a part of me actually agrees with the notion of calling it out in the family group chat, but I would have actually done it last night. Basically, as soon as I left, because now it seems like OP is being defensive, and who knows what the bride might have told everybody else, etc. I mean, who cares? Who cares? It seems like the whole family, if they're really going to look at the situation and be like, oh yeah, there was nothing wrong with that, they're all idiots. So I don't think it matters when the OP addresses it. They're all going to go, no, the cousin had done nothing wrong. Because that seems to be the way it goes with these types of families when we read these stories on Reddit, unfortunately. Am I overreacting for getting upset that my mother-in-law keeps calling herself Mama to my newborn? I, 30F, had my first baby 6 weeks ago. It's been a whirlwind, and my mother-in-law, 60s, has been very involved. She visits multiple times a week, brings meals, helps clean. It's generous and appreciated. But here's the issue. She keeps referring to herself as Mama to my daughter, not Grandma or Nana, Mama. The first few times, I thought I misheard. Then she started saying things like, come to Mama, or Mama missed you, while holding her. I gently corrected her, saying, do you mean Grandma? She laughed it off and said, well, it just slips out. Except it keeps happening. I finally asked her to please stop calling herself that, especially around my daughter as she grows up. She got very cold and said I was being possessive and ruining her bond with her first grandchild. My husband is trying to stay out of it, but told me I should choose my battles. Oh, here we go. Another husband who needs to grow a shiny spine. It feels like a big deal though. That title means something. Am I overreacting, or is this boundary valid? No, I don't think you're overreacting. If you've said, please stop doing that, and they're still doing it, it's not overreacting. And I would have hit the flipping roof when I'd pushed out, carried for 9 months, pushed out somewhere that nothing should ever come out from, especially not something that size, you know, and then someone else is trying to call themselves mum, essentially. Abso-friggin-lutely not. Not on my watch, no, no. So, down in the comments, Mrs. Jingles 0729 says, your husband sucks. Like, absolutely is a weak-ass coward. He's supposed to be the dad, not the baby. Every time you hand him to another man, say, here, daddy will hold you. Oh, could you imagine? Yeah, the role reversed, he wouldn't like it, would he? Just call everyone daddy but him. Use his first name. He can lose his role like how he expects you to lose yours. Tell him you are losing respect and feelings for him, that he's unable to protect and prioritise you and his baby. Ask mother-in-law if you can call someone for her. Look right at her. Tell her the year and where she is. Comment loudly, oh Linda, it's 2025 and you're in Boston. Mike is now 35 and this is your grandson, Blake. We love you. Do you need to sit down or need some water? Talk loud and be overly calming. Tell her that you're concerned she's having a medical event based on her confusion. This is the battle to pick. Maybe if your weak husband had picked any, she wouldn't be coming after you. And I think that's probably why the OP from the first post was getting their back up so bad, because it's like, again, once you have gone ahead and torn yourself to pieces, pushing out this human being that you have carried around for 9 months, and by the way, pregnancy is not this magical event that everyone tells you it is. It sucks. Everything about it sucks. It's awful. I hated it. You know, and then someone comes in and tries to take your title from you. I think the fuck not. It's really sort of like demoralizing. It makes you feel like they're trying to push you out. It makes you feel like you aren't important, you know, where really you are important because you did all that. You are the only one who gets to take that title. So then Jade Phoenix 26 says, I love this. Reminds me of Mrs. Frazzled's gentle parenting a relative videos, and I'm so here for it. Seriously, I can't believe these people even exist. I feel so sorry for OP having to deal with this so recently postpartum with their first baby. You are the mama and you don't let anybody make you feel otherwise. Yeah, exactly. I've never understood this trend with mother-in-laws that like to overstep the boundaries like this. Like, what are they even doing? What do they think they're achieving by doing that? Like, obviously it's some kind of weird power play, but for what? I don't get it. Anyway, I think that's the end of it all for today, isn't it? If you made it all the way to the end with me today, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, I'll appreciate you even more, and that is your initiation into the cult of void. Welcome! That did that in one breath. Are you impressed? Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye!